All right, everyone. It's been confusing times, so it goes like this. Yesterday, I gave a class in Dvar Malchut, but mistakenly, I did not put the class on YouTube. Instead, I put the story that I said yesterday, I put it up twice. And a lot of people replied to both of them. But anyway, I took off the story. I took the story off. And now, I discovered, I looked, searched for the Dvar Malchut yesterday and I put it up. So now I am giving the Dvar Malchut of today. And it is late in the day because I couldn't give it in the morning. Luckily, I couldn't because I would have never caught my mistake. But I'm giving it to her now. Okay, let's go. What did we say yesterday? The Rebbe yesterday asked a question. And it's a really very powerful question. And the question is, what exactly are the Jews? On one hand, it says the Jews are here to fix up the world. We're here to fix up the world. We are like servants of God. We're soldiers of God. We're this. And then next week's Torah portion, we say that we get a reward. And we're here to fix up the world. That's this week's Torah portion. Talks about when you go out to war. You go out to war. So we have to go out and fight a battle and fix up the world. That's what we have to do. Why do we do it? Because we have to. We're slaves. We're servants of God. We have to do whatever God. We don't. God owns us. He creates us. We're have nothing of our own. A true slave has nothing of his own. So that's what the Jewish people are, right? We do what God says. But on the other hand, next week's Torah portion says that when you get your big reward, you're going to go into the land of Israel, and it's going to be fruitful, and it's going to be bountiful, and it's going to be happy, and it's going to be plentiful, and it's going to be wonderful and meaningful. All these fools is going to be just full of everything good. And that's the reward that you're going to get for being in the world. So one second. If we get a reward, it means like we get a free reward. No, you had to work. So if we have to work and we get a reward, then we're not slaves. A slave cannot expect a reward. A slave just has to do what his master tells him. Nowadays, we don't have anything like that. I don't know. Maybe in Africa they still have. I don't know, but I don't think so. No, you cannot expect remuneration. You're a slave. And that's the Jewish people. The Jewish people are totally one with God. On the other hand, the Jewish people do get a reward. So if we get a reward, this seems to indicate that we're like a separate entity. We're like an independent, a free agent, like they say. So are we a free agent? I mean, obviously we are a free agent. We're in this world. We can do whatever we want to. A lot of Jews have chosen not to serve God at all. So if you do, you get a reward. So we are free, separate entities that get a reward, right? But on the other hand, it's not so. Why? Because we're slaves of God. We're servants. That's the fact. God is creating us all the time. So what's going on? This is like this. Mitzad mitziutam. If you look at the existence, mitzad mitziutam amiti, the true identity of a Jewish person, which the Jews are above the world. This week's Torah portion, you have to go out to war. What does it mean you have to go out? You go out from your true identity. Shebriyotam ba'olam, that the fact that the Jewish people are in the world, this is after the soul goes out from its true place, which is above the whole chain of creation of the worlds, even the spiritual worlds, to the degree that with the Jews, God actually consulted in order to make the world. The service of the Jews, therefore, to serve God, this is from their own free will. Milchemet Reshut. We don't have to do anything, just like God doesn't have to do anything. We are fighting a battle. The battles that we fight in the world is because of our own free decision to go out from ourselves. Milchemet Reshut. In other words, we are not, just like God is not obligated to do anything, so we're not obligated to do anything. And that's what Rashi says that in this week's Torah portion, it says that when you go out to war, it's talking about an optional war. Optional. Even though that it's talking about the war that he's talking about now, interpretation means that you're fighting against your own selfish impulses, your own negative desires, your own destructive will, right? That's not an option. That's an obligation, right? Says, yeah, you're right. It's certainly that's right. It's an obligation. But the fact of the matter is we're not obligated because we Jewish people, we're one with the commander. Who made up these laws? God made up the laws. Moses didn't make them up. We didn't make them up. The angels didn't make them up. God, the creator of the universe, put it into the very fabric of creation, right? These laws. And we are one with God. So we are like the author. We're free, just like God is free. We're above the law. So therefore, the fact that the soul does come into the world is it's always drawing from this fact. It's the drawing from the fact that it doesn't have to come into the world. It's doing it only because if it's free will attached to the essence of the creator, of the essence of the creator. That's our true identity. So now, according to this, we can also understand the whole idea of why God gives us a reward, which a reward is not relevant if you are just a slave, because the fact of the matter is the true existence of a Jew, it's above the world. A slave is a separate entity from the owner, and the Jewish people are not a separate entity from God. When they come down into the world, maybe they appear to be, but we're coming into the world from, so to speak, from our own free will to fix up the world. Okay, now this doesn't really make up any sense, because what does it mean before our own free will? Before we were created, before we came into the world, we had free will. So what the Rebbe is trying to say is like this, that every Jew that you see, even it could be yourself, that inside of the Jew is working two dynamic identities. And we're talking about one of them now. Every Jew is the son of God. Every Jew is totally one with God. Well, the Tosfos give an extra explanation. What does it mean, this reward? So therefore, when the soul comes out, it's doing it, so to speak, with its own free will. It's like God creating the world. God had to create the world. He didn't have to create the world. He did it from his own free will. This does not make any sense, but it's true. God is not obligated and not forced or influenced by anything outside of him, because there is nothing outside of him. So therefore, because the Jews come from the essence of God, the fact that they're in the world, this is of their, so to speak, their own volition, and they never stop being connected to the essence of God. Why do we get a reward? Because we're not obligated to do it. It's like a worker. You're doing it of your own free will. So let's explain a little bit more what it means when you go out to war against your enemy. What does it mean? Yitzia, when you go out, then the soul goes out from its true place. The Jewish people and God are truly one, which, just by the way, this explains anti-Semitism. I don't like that word. Jew hatred. Why do people hate the Jews? They don't even know who the Jews are. People don't even know the guy's a Jew, right? You hate the blacks. You can see automatically a person's black. You hate the Orientals. You can see the person Oriental. Okay, you're a sick person, but at least your sickness has a clear goal, a clear target. And the Jews, you don't even know if the guy's Jewish. There's Jews that are dark skinned. There are Jews that are light skinned. There are Jews that are Oriental looking. Jews, Bukhari Jews, a lot of them look Oriental. You can't tell the Jews. You have to ask you, excuse me, sir, are you Jewish? Yes. Yes, I am. Oh, I hate you. Right? Are you Jewish? No, I'm not Jewish. Oh, then I like you. That was supposed to be the idea of the Zionists. Will say, I'm not Jewish. I'm just an Israeli. I'm a Jewish person. Now everybody's going to like me. I'm like a Frenchman or something like that. Right? But the fact of the matter is that every Jew in his essence is totally one with God. That is the essence of a Jew. And that's why everybody hates us, because people don't like God. People want to be independent. They want to be selfish. That's the nature of human beings. And God is messing the whole thing up. You can't be selfish. You can't be independent. You have to do what I'm saying because I am your creator. Huh? But God also created us in his image, so each person can think that he himself is God. And that feels much better to think that I am God and just go naturally than to think that maybe I'm not God and you have to go against yourself. So just get rid of God. How do you get rid of God? The Jews. Because the Jews and God are one. Leired and the soul comes down and is clothed in the body in this physical world. Why is it? Because why did God do this? I mean, after all, God is the creator, right? God desires that he wants to have a dwelling in this world. God created the world that there should be this amazing, amazing novelty that this world, physical world, should announce and declare and reflect the true oneness of God. God is not limited to being unlimited, being spiritual or something like that. God is in every bug and every tree and every atom and every stone. Ta'af shakodim. So God is not what we think, right? God is also what we think, but he's much more than that. God answers our prayers. God cares about. Even though that before God created the world, God was alone, and he was totally united with himself. There was nothing other than God. And the place where God created the world from was also non-existence. All there is just God, whatever that means. All right, there was no place, there was no time, there was no division before God created the world, and that's the way it is now. But there's this whole miraculous process, which is talked about in Kabbalah, which did not disturb God's oneness at all, and that's called the chain of creation of the worlds, coming down from level to level by means of that was Nivra was created, Olam Hazeh, this physical world, Hachumi, and this mundane world, really, that God wanted there to be a world which is the lowest. There can't be anything lower than it. He wanted a world where it would be natural to rebel against God. Hester, or that God wanted to conceal his light. Why God wanted this, I don't know, but he's just explaining the situation, right? I know I've said this 100 times, it's the same thing. Nobody in like anatomy class in university, want to be a doctor, nobody in anatomy class raises his hand and says, excuse me, professor, can you tell me why is it that the heart is a little bit over to the left? Why isn't it in the middle? Why isn't it in the middle? What do you mean, why is it? That's just the way it is. But that's what I'm asking the question. That's the question I'm asking. Why is it that way? What does the professor say? What, you think I created it? You think I made it? You're asking me why. That's just the way everybody comes out. That's just the way things are, right? So the Kabbalists, they're explaining, the Rebbe is explaining how the world is. The difference is that the professor with the heart, he's talking about a cadaver, he's talking about somebody else, and we're talking about ourselves, our existence. Shekach olah b'ratzon, that's what God desired, that God wanted, we would get pleasure, nachat ruach, when we force ourselves and transform ourselves to transform darkness to light, namely, sheyitgalut atzmuto, God's essence is revealed only here when we do what God wants. Huh? And I know I've said this 1,000 times, but I'm going to say it again. That's the idea of sports. People go berserk over sports. You ever see people go wild over sports? I have to admit that I was never that really excited about sports. I really never truly understood why people, get so involved. But I mean, okay, it's interesting, but they go berserk, my team and your team, and they fight, beat each other, Bristol or whatever it is, Liverpool, and they bash each other's mouths. Okay, anyway, that's a different story. Sports is very interesting, makes the world interesting. Huh? There's one team against another team, and you want one team to win. That calls forth these new powers. And look how high he jumped, look how he hit, look how he ran, look how he fell, look how he did this. Amazing, this is superhuman powers. He jumped up 15 feet in the air. Never saw a human being like that. 15 feet, the man jumped up in the air just to make a goal. in the this is in the pictures, it's in the, everybody remembers his name. The most amazing thing in the world, everybody, well, that's what God does. When God does, look at a Jew, he had a whole, I went against his desires, he held himself back. A Jew, he didn't get angry. And this is the most amazing. This is more amazing than hitting 100 home runs, whatever year. What's the record home runs? I remember when I was a kid, some guy hit 100 runs. He beat Babe Ruth's record. This is the most amazing. This is a human being. Here is a human being. That's real humanity. He hit 72 home runs. This is the essence of reality of humanity. For this, the whole world was created. 72 home runs. I can't believe it, right? Everybody's in everybody's paper and the pictures. Everyone wants to be that there's the number on his thing. Everyone wants to steal the number. That's absolutely nothing. Think a Jew goes against his will. He puts on tefillin in Auschwitz. This makes the world worthwhile. This is an amazing accomplishment. You don't think so? It's because you think that hitting 72 home runs is important, which it truly is not important at all, right? There's not, most countries in the world, they don't even know what baseball is, right? They don't even have no idea what it is. What do I care? The guy hit a million home runs. What I don't even know what was a home run. Was it by you? It's the most important thing in the world that he hit the home runs, and this guy doesn't know what is a home or what is a run and what are you talking about, right? Because it's not important, and especially it's not important to God. What is important is what's important to God. And what's important to God is that we in this world, which is screaming out, do what you want, just do it. And you say, no, I'm not going to, I'm going to do what God wants. I'm going to say what God wants. This is an amazing miracle. You don't even see God. There's no crowd clapping your hands. You don't get your picture put in the paper. In order that the Jewish people should make a dwelling place in this physical world, that's like Abraham. Who knew what Abraham did? Who knew that Abraham stood against the whole world? Who knows? Who knew? He did it all alone. And it's written in the Torah. Now everybody knows. Who wrote it in the Torah? God. We have to, that the soul has to go out from its true place. In order to accomplish this, what God wants, the soul has to go out from its place and has to come down below, and has to be put into the physical world, in a physical body, in the physical world, like all of the other creations in the world, just like dogs and cats and armadillos and fish and rocks and whatever is it and what are they called, amoebas. Were exactly as it just happened to be that God put our soul into a Jewish body, and he didn't put it inside of an aardvark or something. Why not? God does whatever he wants. God did this. Why did he do it? God wants there to be an opposition. And he wants the opposition that we should fight against it. And in order that a service of the Jewish people should bring about and make a dwelling for God's essence, and not just some levels of godliness or spirituality, which are somehow or other comparable to the world, but a dwelling for God's essence, the Creator himself. This is like, we want God to feel at home here, just like a person when he is at home, that's when he really, how do you say, reveals himself. So in order that we should do that, as we have to, when the soul comes down below, he should remember always where it came from, the soul. Because it says, Kitetze, you always have, the Jew has to always remember, my true place is in the essence of God. And I am just here as a representative, right? Like a spy. A spy, no matter what he does, no matter how he acts, he knows the language and he knows the customs, and he knows the accent, and he knows all the history, and he knows all of the sports figures and this figures. Everything he knows, but he's not loyal to that country. He's a spy. Well, the same thing is, we are spies. We look like everybody else. We act like everybody else, but we are spies for the Creator of the universe. And our job is to transform the whole world into a blessed place, not the miserable place it is now. Another way of saying it, the big novelty of the soul coming down into the world, that even when it is in the physical world and it seems to be a separate entity, nevertheless, it is one with the essence of God, and it is not separate. How do we know this? Because we see that even when a Jew is the lowest of the low, a Jew cannot separate himself from the oneness of God. Like I told you all these stories, these big criminals and these terrible people, but they still say that I'm Jewish. right? They'll say I'm Jewish. I'm an atheist Jew. I'm a communist Jew. I'm an anti-Jew. I'm a Jew-hating Jew. I hate the Jews. I can't stand them. I'm an anti-Semitic Jew. I'm pro-Hamas. I'm pro-this. I'm pro-this. But I'm a Jew. Right? He's a Jew. He's a Reform Jew. He's a conservative Jew. He's a, what do they call it? A Reconstructionist Jew. He's an anti-Jew Jew, an anti-life Jew, anti-everything Jew, but he's a Jew. He won't leave the, and even more, if you tell one of these people, they say, oh, you religious people, you're disgusting, you're terrible people. So you say to the person, well, maybe you're not Jewish. Whoa, I'm not Jewish. Maybe you're not Jewish. Who are you? And all of a sudden, they're jealous and they're inflamed that you dared to encroach on their Judaism. They care nothing whatsoever about Judaism. They hate Judaism. They hate the rabbis. They hate everything about Judaism, but they're a Jew. And you can't touch that. They are a Jew. And therefore, Nasal Yadam, Chiddush is a big novelty that even when the Jews are in this physical world, namely their true identity is the one with the essence of God, that's a big novelty that even when God sends the soul down below, and we're saying the soul wants to come below in order to make a dwelling for God's essence. As we'll talk about more, God willing, tomorrow.